Hello there, Lisa Fitzgibbon here from Project 7 and welcome to our check-in service. So this is where we're going to hook up with our previous headline producers and our alumni from all around the world. We're going to find out where you are, what you're doing, what you're working on, how you're doing it, that kind of thing. Anyone who's been to one of our Project 7 events knows what an intensely challenging and rewarding week it can be, where forever friendships are made and creative connections that last are created. And this is the check-in service. So we're going to try and put everyone together so we can hook you up with your Project 7 kin. And today we're checking in with singer-songwriter, multi-instrumentalist and Project 7 headline producer, Jon Fletcher. An incredibly talented and intuitive musician, Jon grew up in a very musical family in Reading in Berkshire. As founding member of roots pop group Epona, he toured the folk and festival circuits in the UK and Germany. He spent the last 14 years recording and touring with the Power Folk Quartet and regularly performs with Oxfordshire folk stalwarts Magpie Lane and folk and world music ensemble Kismet. In his two self-produced solo albums, A Month in the Summer and When the Music Ends, Jon draws on the best of English troubadour traditions with beautiful fingerstyle guitar and heartfelt songs. Those of us who have had the privilege of working with Jon Fletcher know the generosity, talent and incredible inspiration he brings to the song, to the studio and to the stage. Hello, Johnny Fletcher. It's Lisa Fitz checking in. How are you?
Lisa. I'm good, thanks. I'm good. Yeah, got my coffee.
Got your coffee. Bit early for you, is it?
I'm not a lark.
So where are you, Johnny? Tell me where you are.
I'm at home in East Oxford, just off the normally bustling Cowley Road. It's dead right now. Everything's shut.
Yeah.
So
you're holding up okay at home?
It's all right. I don't mind being at home. The working from home bit is a bit strange to adjust to, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is Jon Fletcher doing at the moment creatively? What are you working on?
Oh, to be totally honest, mostly sourdough and making raised beds for the garden. But yeah, in terms of music creatively, I've been doing a bit of wrapping up loose ends. Actually, I've got an album of instrumental stuff that's been sitting on my hard drive for ages, which I'm sort of finishing off, and I'm writing some things. Kind of song ideas that have been, again, sort of sitting around for a while and just starting to take shape now that I've got a little bit more time and focus and nothing better to do. So my latest song, which is probably going to come out as a single, it's an idea that's been sort of on the back burner, but it's very much about kind of connection, as we're humans are communal, and how that kind of translates into, our current situation where we're sort of stuck at home, which is quite an ironic kind of situation, because in a way we're all very distant, but we're also connecting. I think this situation at the moment in any other age would have been a very, very different thing. But bizarrely, it can sometimes be more intimate, connecting with people kind of, from your home. Yeah, I did my first ever online gig weekend before this last one, which was, again, very strange to sort of play in my room with nobody there, but actually reaching a larger audience than I probably would in a real life gig. So there's that kind of combination of kind of lacking that connection, but also that kind of real intimacy that, it's just you and a camera and a microphone straight in front. So I'm quite enjoying writing, and sort of broadcasting to the world from this space.
Great. I'm glad that you're making the most of it, of course. You are.
Well, doing my best.
So, Johnny, you grew up in a really musical family. Both of your parents were music teachers. You were brought up in Reading. All your siblings are phenomenal musicians. Yeah. What's your first impactful musical memory?
Well, I'd love to say that the first memory was, kind of understanding at the age of 5 what it was to hold a harmony part in the back of our Morris Minor without the radio. But actually, it was a little earlier than that. It was sitting in our living room, listening to we had a little Grundig radio, and I was waiting for Mum to come back because she was doing her driving test. I was 4, and Night Fever by the Bee Gees came on. Yeah, to a certain extent, my kind of idea of how, pop music should sound was kind of cemented back then.
Wow.
But other than that, singing in the Morris Minor, and, we would sort of occasionally kind of gather around the piano, sing silly music hall songs and that sort of thing. The real the real impact of that actually was growing up in a house where music wasn't a thing that you bought. It wasn't a thing that you paid money to see other people doing. It was a thing you did. I think I must have done my first concert age 4 or 5. We used to go around like the old folks' homes and do Christmas carols at Christmas. Mum and Dad were also involved in the music at the church, and we also did like a little show. There was a sort of kind of a private student hall for mature students from overseas who couldn't go back home. So we used to go and do little entertainment shows for them at Christmas and stuff like that. So I used to sing all kinds of random stuff with my sister and my brother and mum and dad. So
you also had a music room in the house where I believe the rules of the house where you could stay up till whatever time you wanted as long as you were in the music room. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, watching films till 1 a.m, not really encouraged, but yeah, have some mates around and just sort of play some blues. That was fine. Yeah, it was quite a tolerant household in that respect. So mum taught piano from home, so we always had a piano. In fact, at one point we actually had 2 pianos. Us kids gradually filled the room up with guitars and keyboards and
4-track recording equipment that your brother Colin was making.
Absolutely, Colin was very much into his home technology. In fact, Colin kind of more got into playing music through building 4-track recorders himself because he was liked tinkering around with electronics. He's the ideal person to share a studio with because if something goes wrong, he will fix it.
And of course, you still share Starling Audio Studio in Oxfordshire with Colin, and play music together. And I have the privilege of playing with you in the Powerfolk Quartet. Yeah.
So Colin and I sort of still very much playing together in various different lineups, and as I say, running the studio, which is over 10 years now.
Yeah, gosh, it goes quickly, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
So, Johnny, God forbid, if the house was burning down and the twins and the family were safe, everyone was safe, what 2 instruments in your hands would you grab and run with?
It's going to be a choice.
Okay.
Probably my least expensive guitar, my old Fender.
Okay.
But I've had this since I was 16, and, money can buy you a fancy new instrument, but it can't buy you 30 years of songwriting. That instrument I wrote and recorded like 3 albums worth of songs with that, and was gigging with it for 10 years before I even had another guitar. So that's a definite. The other one, you remember this one, of course, which I've had for 17 years now. And again, not the Art and Luther parlour guitar.
Well, we bought you that parlour guitar for your...
You did. That was...
25th birthday?
30th
birthday.
So that was kind of, bandmates and family all clubbed in to get me a guitar I quite liked. So, it's completely knackered and worn out. I'm halfway through the wood around the sound hole. But, it kind of goes everywhere with me, pretty much, that guitar. Kind of, I'd say part of the family. It's more extension of my arms.
Johnny, some production tips now. When you're recording your favourite acoustic guitar, what mic setup do you use and what microphones do you use to get your sound?
To be honest, it depends, really. So these days, at home, I've got an AT4033, which is a good all-rounder. It's pretty good as a vocal mic. It's excellent as an instrument mic. But other than that, sort of depends. If I'm just recording an acoustic guitar, I've got a choice. So I might go to town with like stereo miking, take a DI, take 2 DIs if I've got 2 pickups on an instrument, have a couple of room mics as well to give that sort of ambient spread. But then, if I'm recording, say, vocal and guitar together, I usually make it easier. So just a single mic and a DI. I'm very much kind of, in terms of, what mics to go on what, it's a question of, what have we got? What's going to work best in this particular situation? Because obviously recording an acoustic guitar on its own is very different from recording a singer, singing and acoustic guitar together, and different still from recording the guitar as part of an ensemble. Particularly because I like with recording a group, I like to do that as much as possible live and in the same room. For me, the kind of the technicalities of mic choice or EQing are secondary really to getting a good performance. I think an okay recording of a brilliant performance is always going to win out over the brilliant performance, a brilliant recording of a so-so performance.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of production, most of what I do is geared up towards just capturing that magic.
So when I write songs, Johnny, sometimes I get ahead of myself and think about production. And I did a great workshop with amazing songwriter Sheila Chandra once, and she broke down the whole writing process, and she really liberated me from the actual, this is the writing process, that's the production process. Pull yourself back to writing, just get it down. Hard to do. It's a real discipline. When you're writing songs, because you're a producer as well, are you thinking about the production side? Are you working on the production in your head, or are you just writing? How do you differentiate the two?
I think it depends sometimes. Certainly when I started writing, I was writing and I was just really kind of, just thinking about how am I going to play this song? So that then led to a fairly natural kind of process in production where you go, okay, this is how I play it. So that's what it's going to sound like. And then, of course, you can get into the possibilities of, but I could add this little thing, which certainly with my solo stuff so far, I've tended to kind of keep it. To the point that it's all doable live, and recognisably the same thing as the live stuff. Some of the stuff I've been writing over the years, and I'm kind of getting more into recording now, is actually I'm thinking far more about production. And part of that is using different combinations of instruments. The nice thing about a guitar or a piano is it can be quite self-contained. But actually, when you've got lots of different instruments at your disposal, you might be thinking about, putting things together. So the song I've sort of been working on most recently, it's completely gone to town with. It's based around a ukulele part. Actually, it's not a happy, jaunty Hawaiian kind of song by any means. Kind of delicate fingerpick, which is double tracked, and then there's like about 7 or 8 different guitar parts and some kind of feedback delay electric guitar sliding in and out. And so with that, I mean, actually I had an idea of that sort of sound in my head before I'd actually finished writing. And the great thing these days is that it can be a circular process. You can be thinking about that if you want to. But I think for me, sometimes a song is just a song, and sometimes it is thinking about the recording and thinking about the production. And then what means I'm going to, use to create that particular sound. So my thing that I'm kind of starting to explore a little bit more now is that thing of using multiple instruments with quite a minimalist sort of aesthetic. So you might have like a particular part played on one instrument and then you double bits of it. So if there's like an arpeggiated part, you double one of those notes on one instrument, you double another on a different one, and it all kind of bounces around in your head. Yeah. So you get this kind of really sort of immersive thing that still relates
as you would do tracking vocals, say, with several vocals.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But kind of almost like if you actually tracked each syllable of each word separately on different tracks to kind of, it sort of bounces around to your head, which is quite a fun thing to explore. So I'm doing a bit of that with my sort of current recordings.
Cool. I look forward to hearing it.
You will.
So you've been a Pro7ect Headline Producer for 5 years now, Johnny?
It is 5 years, yeah.
And you run the live room, the songwriting circle, which is different, different to the studios, because you get together as a band and you write a song together. And it's a little bit of a break for the artists who are stuck in that sort of studio mode of collaboration. It's kind of a place for everyone to go rah and play music all day.
Absolutely.
Of course, we do a stereo recording in that room.
We do,
don't do the track recordings there. And then at the end of the day in the playback, you play live.
No pressure.
Which we also stream. Okay, so we send that out to the world.
No pressure.
No pressure. There's always a great rapport in your room. Everyone loves working with you, obviously. Do you have a favourite or a most memorable Pro7ect moment from your work over the last 5 years? One in particular.
It's kind of hard to choose one, really. I think year before last, or possibly the year before that, can't even remember, was a particularly good year when we had four days in the studio, and every day was a cracker, and every day was completely different. We kind of came out with like sort of very melancholic sort of acoustic song with Hattie Briggs one day, then with Kieran O'Rourke we had really intense kind of sort of, I guess, alternative folk, and then we had this really super mellow soul track with Eleni Drake, and then we had a big sort of sing-along poppy kind of number with
Billy Crabtree.
Billy Crabtree, which was a fantastic end to the whole week.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of wrote that song very much with the end. It was called "Coming Home," coming back to you. So it was very much kind of where we were all at, in terms of like we've all been away, but we're coming back to where we live and the people that we love.
Has your work at Project 7 changed or informed in any way the way that you write your own music now?
I think it has in some ways, actually, because I think much less when I'm writing a song about actually who's going to perform it. In a way, I concentrate more on writing for the sake of writing, rather than thinking I'm writing a Jon Fletcher song. Quite often, my best songs are ones that I write with an idea that, this might be good for someone else to sing, even if I end up singing them. In a way, it's quite nice to detach the idea of writing a song from performing a song. And the nice thing working in a group is that, somebody is going to be the performer, but everybody else has got a part in shaping that song without having that same, without kind of being necessarily having the same attachment as if, as being a singer-songwriter.
Absolutely.
I think for me, as a singer, I enjoy singing other songs that I haven't written and trying to find a way of making that my own. But I also enjoy writing songs, maybe, that I don't necessarily feel that I have to go out and, they're my babies out in the world that I sing. I mean, thinking back about some of the songs written at Project 7, the process can be very, very different sometimes. So certainly we've had times where everybody's sitting around, we're jamming, and then we're throwing lyric ideas back and forth and collecting them, and that and the whole thing is truly collectively written. Others where we've actually spent 2 hours talking about kind of narrative arcs and structure and theory of songwriting, and then we write like about 18 words and it tells a story and it's like, oh my god, a very intellectual kind of process.
Okay.
And then others where actually everybody's just kind of played around with some musical ideas, worked out an arrangement, and the singer's just sort of sat in the corner and just written some lyrics that go with it. Mm-hmm. There's different processes, and you can write a song in so many different ways. And the really nice thing about Project 7 is being able to kind of actually go through all of those different ways in the space of a few days.
John, I'm going to ask you some quick questions.
Yeah. Some more questions.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you some quick questions. Tell me what you prefer. You ready?
Yeah.
Cat or dog?
Cat.
I knew that.
You knew that. We got 2 cats.
Couldn't say dog, could you? Be kicked out of the house. Tent or hotel?
Oh. Yeah, you see, I'm a natural camper. But hotel's quite nice. On reflection, probably tent. The tent is more me.
It is more you. Analog or digital?
Nah, you see, that's a tricky one, because there is that big part of me. I have an analog soul.
You do. But actually, you absolutely do.
But it's digital. And I'll tell you, if at risk of going off a tangent here, lots of people go like, yeah, analog, the sound, the vibe, but digital, the convenience. And that's wrong. Digital is the sound. You can do anything with the sound in digital. You can model analog distortion and things. What analog does is it focuses you. It's the process. You can't do 3,000 takes and comp each little bit. It makes you focus. And actually, a lot of, I know when I did my first album, did it on digital, but digital tape. The warmth and character of digital recording.
DA88.
With the convenience of tape.
Dad.
But yeah. But what made that really good was the fact there's no kind of fixing this later. Every track on that album, the guitar is played from beginning to end in one take. With the rhythm section, sometimes with the vocal. Oh, yeah. And you wouldn't do that if you're just recording straight onto your DAW. So yeah. So
digital is the answer.
So digital really, but yeah.
Digital analog soul. You've got an analog soul.
But analog for the process.
Okay, here's a difficult one.
Yeah.
Real ale or lager?
Real ale.
Stones.
Yeah, it's difficult for you, Lisa. You're an Aussie, but
okay. Next one. Stones or Beatles?
Beatles.
Banjo or bouzouki?
Oh, don't make me choose.
Yeah, you have to choose.
Bouzouki.
Okay. Sparrow or robin?
Robin.
Book or movie?
Book.
Pete Seeger or Earl Scruggs?
Oh, Pete Seeger.
Solo or band?
Oh, don't make me choose. Band. I'm a sociable person.
Because you've got the best band in the world.
Of course I have. It's lonely on your own.
I love you so much. Thank you so much for checking in. It's really good to catch up with you.
You, Lisa.
And from all your Project 7 families, stay safe, and we look forward to working with you soon.
See you again. Yay.
Bye, Johnny.
Bye.
For more info and to apply to one of our Project 7 songwriting retreats, visit us at project7.com.